This is a test security training module for Oregon's statewide assessment system, required for all district and school test coordinators, as well as all test administrators. The topics that this module will cover include the requirements for a secure testing environment, handling and disposal of hard copies of secure test materials, identifying and preventing test improprieties and irregularities, as well as reporting any potential improprieties or irregularities. The first topic is secure testing environment requirements, which is important for multiple reasons. First, we must ensure that the results of the assessment are valid for accountability purposes by having consistency in administration practices across school and districts. Second, maintaining the security of test items, questions, and stimuli, reading passages, is necessary so that these items and stimuli can be used in future years to maintain measure comparability and use the results to identify trends in performance. Ultimately, the goal of maintaining a secure testing environment ensures that no students have an unfair advantage or disadvantage during testing. Section 2.2 of the TAM addresses the requirements for maintaining security of the test environment. Test security generally involves who has access to secure test materials, what students can see and hear while testing, and what resources students can access while testing. To ensure a secure test environment, there are requirements that must be met in preparation for testing, during testing, and once testing has been completed. Table 10, included in Section 2.2 of the TAM, provides a list of requirements that must be met during these three phases to maintain the security of test materials and the security and validity of student responses from start to finish, and is an excellent resource to consult at each phase. Please note that a secure testing environment refers to the conditions under which the tests are administered and do not imply or require a specific location. Within the same school, a testing environment could be created in multiple locations, such as in a classroom, library, small conference room, or multi-purpose room. A secure testing environment is expected for all tests every testing session. Testing improprieties can be eliminated with sufficient training and understanding. Each year, ODE receives reports of materials having been left up on the walls in classrooms that may have provided students in those rooms with an unfair advantage. This oftentimes affects multiple classrooms of students. Please cover or remove instructional materials or other academic resources on the wall. Failure to cover or remove these instructional materials can result in entire classrooms of students being invalidated. The other considerations listed here are also avoidable with appropriate practice and training. Please make sure that you understand what TAs and students are allowed to do, nor not allowed to do during testing. Consult the TAM for additional information. Now it's time to review how to handle secure test materials. Section 2.4 of the TAM specifically addresses the requirements in place around handling secure printed test materials, including printed items and stimuli, student notes and rough drafts, and scratch paper. It is critical each school have protocols in place and ensure that they are followed, that ensure only the student and authorized staff who have signed the Assurance of Test Security form have access to these secure materials. This is referred to as maintaining a secure chain of custody of printed secure materials, from printing or writing, in the case of scratch paper, to secure disposal. This protocol should include both test administrators and non-TAs who may be assisting with the storage and/or destruction of secure materials. ODE has posted a promising practice around maintaining the security of printed test materials to the link at the bottom of the slide. It is important that all individuals who will be handling secure test materials, including students, understand what must be securely destroyed immediately following the end of each test session and what may be securely retained between sessions until the student completes the test. Please refer to section 2.4 of the TAM for a complete description of the criteria. Next, we will review how to identify and prevent improprieties.
An impropriety is any behavior that is prohibited because it gives students an unfair advantage or disadvantage or compromises the security or validity of the test. This includes behaviors committed by either adults or students, whether intentionally or by accident. Section 3.0 of the TAM provides explanations and examples of common adult and student-initiated test improprieties. Note that the examples given in the TAM are not exhaustive. The following practices can go a long way towards preventing any or many improprieties. Since a large majority of improprieties are adult-initiated, preventative protocols and procedures can be highly effective. Ensure all adults and students are aware of the testing environment rules and explanation before testing begins. This can help to prevent many accidental improprieties by both adults and students. Check the test environment to make sure it is secure before, during, and after testing. This includes checking ahead of time to ensure there are no non-allowable resources posted or available for students, that there is sufficient spacing and visual barriers between student testing stations, and that the environment is quiet and void of distractions. For example, no through traffic, restricted access to authorized individuals only. Finally, TAs need to closely supervise the test environment while testing is in progress to make sure that the environment remains secure and that the students are following the rules. Always check the TAM and seek clarification before testing begins if there is any doubt about whether a particular resource or behavior is permissible, either for students or adults.
ODE tracks the type of impropriety reported in an effort to understand the critical areas of concern that can be emphasized during training. The most common improprieties are mishandling secure materials, accidental submissions, technology issues, and testing outside of the testing window. While all improprieties are concerning, we continue to receive reports of non-allowable resources being provided as well. If non-allowable resources were a single category, they would rate among the top 5 common impropriety categories. Please work with your staff to decrease these inappropriate practices. ODE, for our part, continues to work on decreasing those that are a result from technology challenges.
The tables in Section 3.0 of the TAM provide multiple, though not exhaustive, examples of test practices which will reduce the likelihood of an impropriety. These examples should be reviewed with all test administrators. Please emphasize the importance of covering up materials that are posted on the walls, whether in classrooms, computer labs, libraries, or other testing locations. If there is any doubt, please cover up.
This is an optional point in the required training to pause and discuss the questions provided or a locally developed set of relevant questions. If you would like to pause, please pause now. Now we will review how to report improprieties. When a potential test impropriety or irregularity occurs, it is essential that the first course of action is to pause all impacted tests until the incident is reported, investigated, and resolved. Any potential test impropriety or irregularity must be reported up the chain of communication so that the incident may be investigated in a timely manner and that the appropriate outcome identified as quickly as possible. Typically, TAs or other staff who may observe what they believe to be a test impropriety or irregularity report the incident to their STC. STCs then report to the DTC, who makes the formal initial report of a potential test impropriety or irregularity to ODE test security. The DTC is responsible for coordinating with ODE and conducting any necessary investigation. Immediately pausing tests impacted by a potential test impropriety or irregularity and not resuming testing before the DTC's full investigation and confirmation from ODE regarding the outcome mitigates impact on students. In some cases, allowing a student to continue testing before resolving the issue can significantly limit the options available to that student. Resuming testing before resolution can make the difference between whether the tests impacted can be reset and remain valid or must be invalidated, and that testing opportunity lost to the student or students. If there is any doubt about whether an incident or behavior is permissible, either for students or adults, always check the TAN and/or seek clarification.
DTCs must submit an initial report for all potential test improprieties to ODE within 1 day of learning of the potential test impropriety. Similarly, DTCs must report all test irregularities that impact either test security or test validity. Based on the initial report, ODE may request further investigation by the DTC, in which case the DTC must provide results to ODE within 30 calendar days. These expectations are unchanged from previous years. DTCs submit their initial report electronically using an online form available at the link shown at the bottom of the slide. A step-by-step guide and how-to slides are available at this link to assist DTCs with using the online form and submission process. When an impropriety occurs, ODE will work with the DTC to confirm the appropriate outcome. Potential outcomes are summarized in Table 14 of Section 3.6 of the TAM, shown here on this slide. Although ODE works to mitigate impact on students due to the severity of the incident, the impacted tests must be invalidated. Under certain conditions, as described in Table 14, it is possible that a test may be eligible to be reset, reopened, or that testing may resume without further action. As mentioned earlier, allowing a student or students to continue testing before the appropriate outcome is determined may negatively impact the options available, even eliminating the possibility of resetting or reopening a test.
This is an optional point in the required training to pause and discuss the questions provided or a locally developed set of relevant questions. If you would like to pause, please pause now. Finally, on this slide, additional resources available to assist you in your role throughout the year are listed. This concludes the test security module.